Yo, what's good? What's good? Freedom Martyrs, freedom family, freedom lovers, freedom fighters. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in the world. It's your boy, Tyrus Bane, aka Snapzilla Gorilla. Welcome to Freedom's March. Black Spring with Autumn, what's good? How you doing? How y'all doing? Please hit the like button when you come in the building. Some of you have already hit the like button before I started the live stream. I'm sorry I'm late. I just had to, y'all know how I like to use the bathroom first for this long road trip. So that I have time to, get my rant uninterrupted. But I like to go through Atlanta first, get on the straight highway so that I can get in and out of the gas station without no issues. I wish you would have come on a little sooner. I have to clock in soon. My bad, Cameron. What's going on, Big Pumpin'? What's good, Dad Mike? My number one troll. It's all good, you guys can catch the replay. If I was late, my bad. So, I'm not chewing this gum, being rude. Anyway, so thank you guys for hitting the like button on the way in. We're gonna get into this. Hopefully I don't get pulled over at some point, because the cops, they are out in force right now. They are out in force. The first is coming up and they out here. So for a minute, I had hope, right? I had hope in society. I had hope that people were finally starting to realize the bullshit. Finally starting to realize the bullshit. Finally starting to see what government really is to the people. I had so much hope, because people were actually thinking and using critical thinking skills to a certain degree. More and more people were realizing, especially black people who were so tied to the Democratic Party for so long, and I don't understand why they ever were. But you would hope, they don't like the Republican Party. They don't think the Republican Party is going to do shit for black people. But they were finally starting to realize that the Democratic Party ain't doing shit for black people either. Right? They were finally starting to see it. Finally. So I thought. But, and this was the last year, I would say the last year or two. People were finally understanding that the economy is shit. You know what I'm saying? The economy is shit due to the actions of people within the Democratic Party, right? Due to the Biden administration. And I'm going to get into all that. There's all these talking points surrounding what presidents affect and don't affect, and how long it takes to go into effect. I'm gonna touch on all that, because I'm tired of hearing that narrative, and we're gonna parse through it, because there's a lot of nuance, right? But anyway, finally starting to see not just how bad the economy is due to the actions of the Biden presidency, but also, right, the fact that they were letting all these people flood through the border, right? They were giving them free plane vouchers, flying them everywhere, just spending all this money on them, right? Yeah, I know. You go to the sanctuary city. The sanctuary city then has to spend the money. But our government has to spend the money to get the motherfuckers to the state. See, people like to act like they understand politics, but they don't really understand politics. They have a very linear view of politics. But there are all these outside influences. There are all these outside factors. There's all these peripheral factors regarding politics. They think it's just straight up, the border, especially when it comes to the border. They allowed 10 million people to enter into this country over the last 3 years, right? They allowed 10 million people, or up to 20 million, you never know, 10 to 15 to 20 million people into this country illegally, right? Let them come in, don't vet them, don't do any investigation. You give them a court date, you don't really make sure. You give them free phones, you're giving them this, you're giving them that, giving them this money. But this happened over the last 3 years, but people will have you believe, oh, Trump didn't shut down the border. They didn't try to shut down the border during the Trump administration, but they did try to shut down the border Trump administration. Yeah, he had the Senate and the House for 2 years, but it's not that simple. He had simple majorities in these two houses, right? You got the House of Congress and then you got the Senate. You need more than a 60 in the Senate. You need a 60% vote to push certain things. It's not as simple as, oh, well, the Republicans took the House and the Republicans took the Senate. No, there has to be, you have to have a super majority to really get your way. But that's another story, right? So there's that narrative, right? Now, I understand that the reason there were less illegal immigration crossings during the Trump administration is because that's what they wanted, right? They wanted less illegal immigrants to come in during the Trump administration. And then when it comes to letting more people into the country during the Biden administration, it's because that's what they wanted to happen. They wanted them to come in. Just like during the Obama administration, he deported more illegal immigrants than any other presidency, than any other administration. He was the deporter in chief. Obama deported more people during his two administrations, during his 2 terms, than any other president, right? So that lets us understand that immigration is not necessarily a bipartisan issue. Everything they do is for a purpose. Everything they do is bipartisan. Trust me on that. Everything they do, everything our government does, every law they pass through the House and through the Senate, and then the president signs it. Those actions are bipartisan actions. Those actions are the actions both sides want. But what do? Well, let's fight it out in the halls of Congress, in the Senate, and act like we're really opposing these different bills because, oh, we're Republicans, you guys never. No, that's not how this works. They'll give you the illusion, right? These people will shake each other's hands on the floor and then fight it out. These motherfuckers, they hang out, right? They're all in Washington, D.C. when they're in session, and that's where the machinations occur. That's where everything, the gears grind. The gears grind not on C-SPAN. C-SPAN is the fucking show. Because understand, they can't just make certain things happen just like that, just because they want to. No, because they know that what? The people, right? The people that give the consent to be governed, understand that. No president is talking about the consent of the governed. What president has come out and talked about that? But anyway, they can't just do whatever they want out in the open. Now they're getting more and more bold, but they still have to play the game, right? And if you try to explain this to certain people, they call you a conspiracy theorist. They mock you, right? They talk about, oh, you believe in the Illuminati and the Baphomet. No, this is bullshit. They liken you to someone like Ryan Garcia, who don't know shit about politics. See, I'm talking to y'all. I have knowledge of politics. I know. I've been all up in this shit since early 2000s, in my 20s. I took classes to understand how politics work in college. I know how this shit works. So, in knowing that I know how shit works, I also know the side that they don't teach in college. I know the side that they don't teach you in school, right? The shit that they don't really go deep into unless you going into politics, unless you become a politician. That's when you start to learn. Once you become a politician, you start to really understand and learn how politics work. Outside of that, you might have a cursory understanding, but I look at things and I take things a little further than other people might, right? I look into things a little further than other people would because people don't really care about politics. The average everyday motherfucker don't care to understand politics. But what do they understand about government? People understand what about government? Oh, well, government, this is what they think government is. Oh, government keeps me safe. Government keeps me secure. Government keeps me, make sure I have bridges and railroads and hospitals. Oh, they provide so much. The government provides so much. That's all they care about. Oh, they put police on the streets to keep me safe. This is what these people understand. And I thought over the last 2 years, people were finally coming to the understanding that the government don't really do shit for you. Let alone a president. Let alone a vice president. Let alone anybody that is a sanctioned mafia member. Understand that the United States government and all its emissaries and all its employees and all its members and all its bureaucrats, they are sanctioned mafiosos. Understand that. They all commit RICO crimes every fucking day. These people are RICO criminals. These people are mafiosos. These people are the Grand La Cosa Nostra. They are just sanctioned La Cosa Nostra. They still perform all the acts a mobster would, or a mob team, or whatever you want to say. They extort, right? They extort, right? They bully. They, keep you in line. And what do they do to their opposition? Right? They do all kind of shit. Anything that you can think of that the mafia does, that's what our government does. It's just sanctioned. It's sanctioned by a constitution that outlines it. The United States of America is a corporation. Oh, when you tell people, oh, the United States is a corporation. Oh, you a conspiracy theorist. Look at your foil hat. Motherfucker, it's in the Constitution. The United States government, the United States is a corporation. It is. They run it like a corporation. That's how the mob runs this thing of theirs. You know how mafia members, they can't admit that there is a mafia. So what do they say? This thing of ours. These motherfuckers ain't gonna come out and tell you, we're mobsters. No, they're not gonna tell you that. What are they gonna tell you? They're gonna tell you, oh, we passed this law, now you gotta do this based on this law. Oh, we did this, we did that. But the framers of the Constitution put in a loophole. The framers of the Constitution, the Federalists, they call them, put in a loophole, not because they wanted to, but because the anti-federalists wanted this loophole in there. So, do y'all understand what a federalist and an anti-federalist is? Those are the original two parties, essentially. The original two parties were the Federalist and the Anti-Federalist. Well, guess what? The Anti-Federalist consisted of state governors, basically, governors of the colonies that were against centralizing the power to that central government. They opposed centralizing power. Why? Well, because they just fucking fought England. They fought King George VIII. They just got rid of that motherfucker. They said, man, that motherfucker had centralized power. From way over there in the UK, from way over there across the pond and they were still over here committing tyranny. So in order to avoid that, we're going to break up our colonies. We're going to be separate, but we're going to be aligned, right? We're still going to have interstate commerce, intercolony commerce. We're still going to trade amongst each other. But you run your state or your colony how you want to run it. We run our colony or our state how we want to run it. Well, for whatever reason, the Federalists, they felt like, well, we need to centralize power so that we can form a military, a currency that's universal across the country to help defend against any outside influence that might come in and try to do the same thing King George VIII did. So they both had their reasons for wanting to centralize or not centralize, right? That's why this shit started in the first place. That's why we have a constitution, right? But again, the loophole was thrown in there because the anti-federalists wanted it in there. Each of these colonies had a Bill of Rights that protected the rights of the people, right? And so what did they say? Oh, no, you don't even have a Bill of Rights in this Constitution. You got to put that in there. But that's not even the biggest loophole in the Constitution. The biggest loophole of the Constitution is not even in the motherfucking Bill of Rights, and it's not in the amendments, right? It's outside of that, where it says consent of the governed. Consent of the governed. And there are other things in there that talk about how we have certain rights. We have certain unenumerated rights that aren't enumerated that every individual has. So we have that. So understand, at any point in time, all we got to do as a people is come together and say, we remove our consent. We remove our consent to be governed. We remove it. We no longer consent to your governorship. We have that. And I thought people were finally coming to understanding. Yes, slowly but surely, right? But no, what happens, the election season comes and everybody starts to show their ass. Everybody starts to show their ass. Everybody shows their ass. Kamala, and they didn't really start showing they really didn't really start showing their ass until Kamala came in as the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. Oh, when Kamala came through, all the asses came out. All the ass came out. All the motherfuckers saying, I vote for Kamala because she's black. Yeah, you have people that, were like, no, I'm not going to just vote for her. You have certain individuals, right? But what are they doing, though, man? The same people that complained about Trump. The same people that complained about Trump, that didn't want nothing to do with Trump, black folks. What do they do? Instead of saying, we need to figure some shit out for ourselves. We don't need Kamala or Trump. What do they do? We'll go support Trump. We'll go vote for Trump. What? So y'all don't understand. So you got people out here saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna just vote for Kamala because she black. And then you got other people saying, yeah, I'm not gonna vote for Kamala just because she black. I don't know what her policies are. I don't know this. She ain't got nothing going on, blah, blah, blah. Marijuana, this, and holding people past their sentence that. I'm gonna just go for the other guy. I'm gonna go vote for Trump. Which is equally as stupid. Equally as stupid. Equally as ridiculous. Equally as asinine. Equally as counterproductive. It's counterproductive. It's counterproductive to understand that you never liked Trump. You don't give a fuck about his policy. You said that he said racist shit. oh, good people on both sides. Well, you know you're missing context, but you don't give a shit when he said good. There's good people on both sides. You don't care about the context. You just care that he said that. You just care that people are coming out, the news media is coming out, which you know is full of shit. We know that the Operation Mockingbird media is full of shit. We know they lied. We know that they lied about Trump. We know that he had all these trumped up charges. Right? We know that. But we just don't like Trump because blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Well, what is Kamala doing? Well, Kamala, you know that she held people illegally past their sentencing in order to fight fires. Now, there are people out there, oh, go do your research. Oh, you don't, all this shit about the marijuana. I'm not worried about the marijuana part because marijuana was against the law, right? And we know we love laws so much. It was against the law. She was enforcing the law. My problem is with her holding people past their sentencing, right? Keeping people on death row longer than they should have been when they were exonerated. Oh, but no, we got to focus on the marijuana part. No, fuck that. What about the motherfuckers that she held past their sentencing and held the exoneree who was on death row, held them past that? So Kamala's trash. Kamala don't claim her blackness unless it's convenient for her. So you want to say, oh, okay, I'm voting for her because she's black. A lot of people. There was some, I think Don Lemon was doing a man on the street interviews. And he was talking to this white lady. And she was like, oh yeah, I'm voting for her because she's black and she's a woman. Completely asinine. Completely asinine and irresponsible. Completely asinine and irresponsible. Oh, well, but Trump, what did Trump do for black people? Well, nothing. Right? None of these motherfuckers gonna do shit for black people. Kamala told your black ass that she is not doing anything specifically for black people. But we just want to gloss right on over that. Oh, let's gloss over that. Oh, yeah. No one wants to talk about that. Kamala told your black ass that she wasn't going to do shit for you. So, if it's between a black woman and a white man, and who's better for black people, well, when you get down to the bare bones of it, one says she ain't gonna do shit for black people, and the other guy didn't say whether or not he's gonna do shit for black people or not. Either way, how does that help your black ass? How does that help your black ass? It does not. You know what it does? It keeps you stuck. It keeps the chains on you. Y'all are so comfortable with the chains that which you don't care where it's getting tugged from. Is the chains getting tugged from the left or is it getting tugged from the right? Is a rhino tugging on the chains or not the rhino? Is the elephant tugging on the chains or is a donkey tugging on? It don't even fucking matter to y'all. The chains are there. Let's just keep the chains on by voting for the lesser of two evils. You want to vote for the lesser of two evils. That's essentially what you're doing when you're saying, oh, I got to go with the black chick because I'm black. What? How does that help? Okay, you want to go for the black chick because you black. All right, then what? Okay, you voted for the black chick because she's black and you're black. Okay, now what? What? Where's the substance? What's going to happen? Right? And conversely, with Donald Trump, what can he do for you? No one is going to sign a law helping black people specifically. I knew that Kamala couldn't do it. I knew Biden couldn't do it. I was just surprised that she just came out straight up and said it. That's what I was surprised about. I wasn't surprised that she can't do it. I was surprised by the fact that she actually opened her mouth to say that. She told your ass straight up. We see, but we have historical evidence. We have historical evidence that shows us whether or not having a black person as president will help black people. What, y'all want to know what this historic evidence is? Can y'all tell me? Obama. Yeah, Obama black. He blacker than goddamn Kamala. But what did he do for black people? Not a motherfucking thing. Not a motherfucking thing. But you know what? Everybody talks about reparations. When it comes to black people, foundational black Americans, or ADOS, or whatever you want to call them. How about, talking about, well, what reparations for black people, this, that, and the third. They act like it can't be done, right? That's what our government, the president, the senators, the governors, everybody, even Governor Newsom in California, they act like, oh, it's just so difficult to figure out. Oh, it's so hard to figure out slave reparations. We need a study. We need to perform a study. We need the CDC to do some research. It's so hard to figure out reparations for the descendants of slaves. Oh, well, no one alive is a slave owner now. So what do you need reparations for? You're not a slave. It's so hard to fathom and figure out, right? No, it's not. Because they gave reparations. Obama gave reparations to the small hats. Right? Well, he didn't give, but he helped the small hats get reparations. And he gave reparations to the Japanese. Right? Remember that? We held Japanese nationals, Japanese citizens. We held them in concentration camps during World War II. Yeah, they got reparations under Obama. Yeah, specifically for Japanese people. That was easy though, right? That was easy. Just take the motherfuckers that were interned and give their progeny some motherfucking money. Okay, that was simple. They didn't need a study for that. Oh, no, they did not. They did not. Obama gave the Japanese reparations. But when it comes to black folks, oh, he couldn't do shit. What else did he do? Huh? Oh, he made sure that the LMNOP community could get their marriage cracking. Oh, yeah. He ushered that in. What else did he do? He put the rainbow, because, the LMNOP community has co-opted the rainbow now. They co-opted the word pride. They co-opted the rainbow. So it belongs to them now. But he put the rainbow on the face of the White House. Did he put a black fist on the White House? I don't recall if he did that. Can anybody tell me? Did Obama put a black fist with the RBG flag on the White House? No, he did not. He did not. His black ass got in there and didn't do shit for black people. Kamala told you she ain't gonna do shit for black people. But we're so hard up to put this woman in the presidential chair. Oh yeah, because it's gonna make a difference. Now, let's talk about more historical evidence. Because they had the people like to spin this whole situation. People like to say certain things about the economy and what affects it and what doesn't affect it, and how long things go to affect. They like you to think that the economy is trash right now because of Trump's actions. But I can tell you that that's not true. Now, y'all know me. I'm an anarchist. I know better than that. I know that this is all orchestrated. Y'all want to, whatever. I'm a fucking conspiracy theorist. I don't give a hot fuck what y'all think. I know it's orchestrated. I know this whole thing is orchestrated. I know that the economy is what it is because it was planned that way. It wouldn't have mattered who was president. Well, actually, it does matter who's president because they have to give the illusion that certain administrations make certain things happen. Certain things happen because of certain administrations. Why do they do that? Well, because they have to give you times that are good, times that are bad. They have to have economic slumps. They have to have economic rises to keep the sheep, keep you calm, right? Because they don't want y'all to get too out of control. So guess what? They got to turn things around. Or they got to make things look like, oh, look, there's an upturn. Yeah, so there's going to be slumps and upturns. Because that's how it's orchestrated. And they told y'all that during the pandemic. It was no more evident than during the pandemic that they control the economic downturns and the economic upturns through certain actions. I'm going to get into that. But let's get into how things are affected over time by what an administration does. Let's talk about that because not everybody, but people like you to think, oh, whatever a president does, it doesn't go into effect until the next term. That's bullshit. It's bullshit. But let's go into it. 2008, what happened in 2008? What happened in 2008? Y'all remember? I was 28 years old. I don't know who, some of y'all probably weren't even born then. But in 2008, or you were maybe just a kid, so you don't really know what the fuck happened in 2008. But your parents knew. What happened in 2008? Anybody tell me? I can't really look at the comments. But in 2008, there was a housing bubble that bursted. Yes. The housing bubble bursted in 2008. What happened? There was a Great Recession. Anybody know about the economic, the Great Recession in 2000? I do. Oh yeah, I do. I was, I knew. That happened during George S.W. Bush's term. You said nothing? Oh yeah, the housing. It looked like you said nothing, bub. You said housing bubble. Yeah, the housing bubble bursted. It caused the Great Recession. Well, why did the housing bubble burst? Why did the housing bubble burst? Deregulation in the housing rules, right? How you got a loan, variable rate loans, right? Things like that. And this was artificially brought about. Yes. Because there were variable rates. There were not fixed rates, right? Fixed interest rates. There were variable rates for decades in this country with no fucking problem. There was less regulation for decades without a fucking problem. But what happened? I'm going to tell y'all what happened. The Iraq War. Weapons of mass destruction. 2001, 9/11. That's what happened, right? They needed to fund a war. So what did they do? They lied about weapons of mass destruction, and we had to spend money on this war. The government had to spend money on that war. And guess why? So that their buddies, the corporate welfare recipients, can make some money. And when their buddies, the corporate welfare recipients, make money, they get money. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get into that too. I got time today. So, in order to fund that, because guess what? Back in the 1970s, we got off the gold standard. I know there's a lot of shit going on. You got to follow me here. There's logic to this. There's a method to my madness. All this is connected. We got off the gold standard. Why did we get off the gold standard? Because Nixon took us off the gold standard. Why did Nixon take us off the gold standard? Because we were at war with Vietnam. Yeah. We were with Vietnam. And we were spending a lot of goddamn money. We were spending a lot of goddamn money on munitions. We We're spending a lot of what money on, well, munitions, fuel, right? For all the C-130s, for all the helicopters and all the shit. War costs money. War costs money, but it also makes the private contractors a shitload of money. Why? Because the private contractors aren't government, right? So what does the government do? The government extracts your wealth and it gives it to the private defense contractors. They make their money when they have to make munitions, bombs, planes. The government doesn't build that shit. Y'all know that, right? Y'all know the government does not create weapons. The government does not build, they don't build planes. They don't build nuclear weapons. They don't build no weapon. It's all built by private contractors. It's all built by, the government don't build shit, just so y'all know that. The government hires private contractors to build anything they want, anything they need. So when they have to build a building, they don't hire government construction workers, no. It's all through private contractors. So the contractors get paid. But anyway, they had to fund the Vietnam War. Well, we were on the gold standard. So what does that mean? That means, well, we don't have fiat currency. We can't just shit money out of nowhere. We can't print money out of nowhere. So what are we gonna do? Well, guess what? All these countries were giving us their gold to hold on to. And we would have it stored in Fort Knox and other places. Yeah, we were holding other countries' money, other countries' gold. We were using their gold, or we were trying to use their gold to fund this war. And the private contractors that were building the weapons, the napalm, and all that other type of shit, oh, they were getting paid like a big dog. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, these other countries, they said, these allies of ours, they said, hey, how y'all getting this money? What the fuck? Y'all got our gold and y'all spending money like a motherfucker. No. They took their gold back. They took their gold back. So now, Nixon took us off the gold standard and we went to fiat currency. Fast forward to the second Iraq War in 2003 and 2004. Well, we had to fund that too. We had to fund the previous war, right, under Clinton, right, at the end of George W. Bush's, the first, George Sr., under his administration, toward the end of that, in the beginning of Clinton's, they had to do the same type of shit, but because we need to fund this war, we had to have something happen. We had to do something to raise interest rates. They had to raise interest rates in order to fund this war. That happened over the course of years leading up to 2008. They raised interest rates, the variable loans, on the variable interest rate loans. That shit went up. And guess what happened? People couldn't afford to pay the goddamn mortgage no more. The interest rates kept going up. And so what did you have? Foreclosures out the yin-yang. Foreclosures out the yin-yang. Short sales. All this, that. In the motherfucking third. What did that go to? That helped to fund this fucking war. Interest rates. You understand? Boom. The bubble bursted. And guess what happened after that? What is one of the first things Obama did? What is one of the first things? Human nature asks if I'm married. Yes, I'm married. Yep. Why do you ask? You can't hear me? Let me know. Please put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me, guys. Let me know if y'all can hear me. J-Man was good. Make sure. Thank you guys for coming through. So, listen. It wasn't just the war, right? There were a lot of irresponsible actions in regards to housing loans, right? The banks were irresponsible giving out these loans. That's also a case. That's also happened, right? That's part of it. But we had to fund a war, and we had to, raise interest rates, and all this, that, and the third. There were a lot of government guarantee loans, all this, that. So the bottom line is this: one of the first things Obama did was what? So let me paint the picture. You had millions of homeowners on the verge of losing their homes, on the verge of being put out on the street. Millions. A lot of them black. A lot of them white. Most of them black. Because a lot of predatory loan practices were aimed at black people. So you're talking about black people keep being greatly affected by this bubble burst. What was one of the first things that Obama did when he became president? One of the first things Obama did as president was bail out the fucking banks. Yes, he did. He bailed the banks out. Hot quick. Bailed the banks out. The same banks that issued predatory loans to black folks. Did he bail out the black people? No. He didn't bail out no motherfucking people. He bailed the banks out. Well, he had to bail out the banks because the blah, blah, blah. Fuck that. The banks were part of the reason this happened in the first place. All right? One of the first things Obama did was bail out the banks. And the banks only needed to be bailed out because they were practicing predatory behavior towards loan recipients. Predatory loans. This shit go back to the 50s. This shit go back to the 50s and 60s. A lot of the predatory loan behavior were aimed at black people that were trying to get to move into white neighborhoods. They don't want to tell y'all that. Did y'all know? Right? Now they like to tell you, well, y'all done ran the white folks out of the neighborhood. Y'all done brought down the market value. Y'all brought the market value down. No, that's not true. Right? When listen, especially in like Los Angeles and in California, where a lot of people were moving from the South to California, Mississippi, Georgia. My family, black Mississippi motherfuckers, moved to California. You know what I'm saying? Moved to California, and they got these loans, these predatory loans, that would keep them locked in a mortgage for 30 to 50 years, 30 years. And the interest rates, they end up paying almost damn near twice the value of the home by the time they're done. That's when they started. That was aimed at black people. The reason we have 30-year mortgages is because they were trying to fucking fuck black people. But what did they tell you? We moved into when you move to a white neighborhood, oh yeah, they brought the value down. No. Actually, when black people moved into those white neighborhoods, the value went up. The value went up. But they sold them the lie that the value went down. They sold these white folks the lie that the value went down just to cause problems. This is what government does, y'all. This is in the government allowed these. They knew that these banks were doing this. They encouraged it. But anyway, that's a little tidbit for that. But the bottom line is this: Obama had an opportunity to bail out the people that were the most affected by the housing bubble burst. But what did they do? They paid the bankers. He bailed the bankers out. He bailed the bankers out that were getting tens of $1 million bonuses. Bonuses in the tens of millions of dollars. And everybody fucking knew it. Obama didn't do shit for your black ass. And guess what? When Kamala gets in there, she ain't gonna do shit for your black ass either. She ain't gonna do nothing for your black ass. She ain't gonna do nothing for your white ass. white, you white dudes for Kamala, the white ladies for Kamala, white people that want to vote for Kamala. She ain't gonna do shit for y'all. You understand? Oh yeah, she was vice president. She didn't do shit. She didn't have no power. I don't give a hot fuck. Let me tell you, she was put in charge of the border. Yes, it was probably just window dressing. Oh, go act like you care about the fucking border, but she fucking didn't. She didn't give a hot fuck about the border. Yeah, buzzing I still have I. Human nature. I thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. So look. This is the bottom line, man. This is the bottom line. This is the bottom line. Let me tell you how the government really works. Let me tell you how the government really works. You have 3 branches of government, right? Really got 4. You have, and I'll tell you what the 4th is last. You have the judicial branch, you have the legislative branch, and you have the executive branch. The judicial branch, the legislative branch, they're the ones who create the laws. The executive branch, they sign the laws into existence, right? They make the bills official, and they're supposed to enforce the laws. The judicial branch interprets the laws. That's how it's supposed to work. Now, within the legislative branch, you have representatives. These representatives are the Congress people and the senators. And this goes down to the states too, state and local level. So the executive branch members, the people of the executive branch, they are the ones that are supposed to represent the people within their constituency, right? So each of you, if you live in the United States, you have a so-called representative. You have a so-called representative in your district, in your town, whatever, and it goes all the way up in your state. You know what I'm saying? For Congress, you got one congressperson, federal, in the federal level. You have one congressperson per district, and you have so many districts per state. And then you have 2 senators per state. So they're supposed to represent the people within their half of the state, within their district, and so forth and so on. But do they really, can they, listen, the smallest district might have 100,000 people, 20,000, 30, it just depends. The largest district might have 1 million or 2 million or 3 million people. Like if you live in California, you live in Los Angeles, I think it's like 3 or 4, I forgot. So many million people. And then that city is broken down into different districts, right? Each district has a congressperson. They have a constituency of hundreds of thousands. Can one congressperson represent the interest and the needs of thousands of people all at once? Human nature, I thank you. You got a big Dead Mike Husher, man. What the Dead Mike? You weird, bro. So think about it. Can one person think about? Matter of fact, let me name a congressperson. Let's say, what's that woman's name? Shit. Nancy Pelosi. She is a 90-something-year-old Italian white woman that lives in California. How can she, and she's 90-something years old, how can she possibly represent the interest of, well, she's no longer a congressperson, I don't think, but when she was. Waters, what's that Waters lady from LA? I forgot. Maxine Waters. She's like 90-something too. How could she possibly represent the interest of all these people in LA? She fucking cannot. She cannot. Understand these representatives, they represent somebody, all right. They represent the interest of the bankers. They represent the interest of corporations. They represent the interest of the pharmaceutical industry. They represent the interest of private prisons. They represent the interest of AARP. They represent the interest of the NRA. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the fourth branch, the special interest groups. Mitch McConnell, exactly. I'm talking about the special interest group. That's another branch. Now that I think about it, there's 5 branches. The 5th branch is the media, the propaganda branch. The propaganda branch is the 5th unofficial branch of the government. So you got the legislative, you got the judicial, you got the executive, you got the special interest groups, and you got the media, aka the propaganda branch. Yeah, you got all those branches. So how it works is, and I was talking about how all these people, they get together in Washington D.C. and they're buddy, they drink together. They have all these. They trust me. They all hang out. They all hang out. Now, each congressperson do represent, congressperson and senator. They do represent somebody. They don't represent the constituency. They don't. Now, do they make action? Do they do certain things? Do they pass certain laws that might positively affect their constituents? Just so happen? Yeah, maybe. Right? Maybe. At the end of the day, it's all about the special interest groups. If you do not have a special interest group that has bread, if you're not part of any special interest group that has bread that can influence the creation of laws, you are not represented by the government. So what do these special interest groups do? What they do is they lobby. Yes, they have lobbyists that go to these Congress people, to these senators, and even to they even go to people in the executive branch. They go to governors. They go to people like that, mayors, right? City council chairman. They go to those people, and what do? They give them money. They give them money, and they create bills. They help create bills and acts to vote into law. That's how that works. Special interest groups, they have the money. If you aren't part of a special interest group that actually has your needs in mind, then you're not being represented. What's an example of a special interest group? Big oil. Big oil is a special interest group. Big food, that's multiple special interest groups. Let's see. They want to tell you the gun lobby, right? Like the NRA, that's a special interest group. AARP, that's an interest group, special interest group. What else? There are multiple special interest groups that give these motherfuckers money to make certain things happen, to pass certain laws, or to shoot down certain laws, to downvote certain laws. Yeah. This is legal. This is allowed. So, your Congress people, your so-called representatives, they have a choice. They can choose to represent the needs of their people in the constituency. They can choose to represent the state, right? Now, that's another, there's different things they can do. They can represent the people of the needs of the people in their district, if you're a congressperson. Or you can think broader and think, okay, I need to think about the entire state when I do these things. A shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So, that's why they say, you vote on long party lines and all these people. they come together to make sure certain things happen. But really, at the end of the day, it's the special interest groups that get the most representation. Why? Because they pay these people to do so. They pay them. They give them big money. You know, all for PACs and all that. They come out during election season to really give the bread, to really inject funds into who they want to win for presidency, you know, so whoever they want to get elected. But really, what they're doing is they're making sure they don't give a fuck who passed. They don't give a fuck who the president is, because guess what? Guess to the what? Special interest groups. They aren't required to only lobby with a Republican or a Democrat. Did y'all know that? They can give money to whomever they want. They can give money to that congressperson who's a Republican, and they can give money to that Democrat on the same day in front of each other. They are not restricted to whom they give money. Yeah. And the reason they get away with it is because it's a special interest group. Individuals can only donate a certain amount, but special interest groups, they don't have a limit. They can do it every goddamn year. It doesn't have to be an election season. You understand? Because Congress people and senators, they're in session. They're in session year round. So when they're getting ready to start voting and introduce acts and bills, sometimes these special interest groups, they help write these bills. They help create them. You know what I'm saying? This is what we need to understand. So, if we are even to believe that the left-right paradigm is real, let's say the left-right paradigm is real, it's not a lie. That is how it works, right? The special interest groups, they get most of the love, y'all. They're getting represented. And they don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, they don't give a hot fuck. Because they'll give you money to do something for them, and if they see you do it, they'll give you more money next time they want you to do something for them. It's the special interest groups. And what's the most influential special interest group? The big banks. The big banks, they are the biggest and most influential special interest group. And the big banks are tied to the small hat. They're tied to the Anti-Defamation League and certain PACs. These are the people or the entities that get most representation. Why? Because the United States is a corporation. So at the end of the day, is Kamala gonna do anything for your black ass? Is Trump gonna do anything for your black ass? Because guess what? In order for them to make something they want to happen, they had to issue executive orders, or they had to sign something into law. And they can also propose bills and acts as well. And they can also get money. You see what I'm saying? So, for special interest groups, this is what goes on. The lobbyists, they're the ones that are in these people's faces, making sure their clients are getting represented. Special interest groups, they hire lobbyists to go in there to make this shit happen. And a lot of these lobbyists are former senators and congresspeople themselves. Dead Mike said Big Pharma. No, Big Pharma is not the biggest and the most influential. The bankers are. Because guess what? The bankers are connected to all those corporations and entities. The bankers are connected to Big Pharma. The bankers are connected to the prison industrial complex. The bankers are connected to the private contractors, right, that work for the government, that build weapons and all that. That's another interest group. Those are the ones. See, at the end of the day, they're not gonna do shit for your black ass. They're not gonna do shit for your white ass. If anything happens positively for you, it's because that's just a casting off. Those are the crumbs off the table. If you get any benefit, it just so happens you got benefit for it. But that's how this shit works. Well, this is the understanding we need to have, right? So, if you really feel like you want to make some shit happen for black folks, what do you need to do? I like to be solution oriented. Okay, you want to be stuck in this left-right paradigm bullshit. You want to keep the government around because they build roads and bridges and hospitals, which they don't. They don't build a motherfucking bridge. They don't build a motherfucking hospital. They don't build a motherfucking road. They don't. Private contractors bid on the work to do it. That's another story. They hire private contractors, and then they might hire city maintenance people to maintain it. But whenever there needs to be so let's say you need the infrastructure rebuilt, well, the public works motherfuckers ain't gonna do it. They're gonna hire a private contractor to do it. Anyway, that's that. And then you got big construction. Big construction is another another special interest group. Yeah. But I mean, listen. If you want these motherfuckers to do something for you, you have to form a special interest group with a shitload of money. With a shitload of money. And then you're going to have to compete with other special interest groups that have interests that go against yours. So if you want something to happen for your special interest group and it goes against what this special interest group wants, you have to outbid your competing special interest group. And you need money for that. You need money, and you need some type of framework, right? And just be let's get a million black people together and we just put all our money in the bank. No. You need something that will show them that you're gonna have money coming in forever. You have something established. You have to have something established in order for your special interest group to get any motherfucking traction. And that's why they have that. That's why big construction, the private contractors that work for the government to build shit, you got those. All the special interest groups. All the special interest groups that have been in the game for decades, they are established. They are companies. They are formed by companies like Nabisco, like Coca-Cola, like the Koch brothers and all that, right? Johnson & Johnson, all these people, right? Yeah, they might compete out here in the real world commercially, but when they want some shit to happen, when they want to deregulate the food industry, they come together. They say, hey, come together right now over me. Yeah, they come together right now to get over on you. So they'll come together and they'll say, man, we don't really want to show all these ingredients. No. We don't want to do the GMO notification bullshit. No. We'll give you $10 million. Get that shit out of here. Make sure that shit doesn't even hit the floor. Yeah. And we don't want to take the seed oils out of the food. So all these motherfuckers make food with seed oils in it. Industrial seed oils, which we know is poison. They all do. They all have it. They all have it in their foods. So yeah, they'll come together right now and say, hey, we don't want the seed oils. We don't want that to be illegalized. No, we don't want that prohibited to put in our foods. So we're going to give you $10 million to make sure you vote against, maybe not 10 million. That's a lot of money because they're going to have to give enough Congress people and enough senators to get enough of the vote to shoot the shit down, right? So they might give them 100,000. They give 10 or 12 or 13 senators $100,000 and 50 or so or 100 or so Congress people $100,000, $200,000. They'll say, we don't like this bill. We don't like that. We want. What do you think about voting against that? That's how they get shit cracking. That's how they get shit cracking. Big media. That's another one. Big media. Yeah. That's what's up. Yeah. So these are the people that are making shit happen for them. The special interest groups, the corporations that give these Congress people, these senators, they give them shitloads of money in order to make things happen for them. But we sitting up here arguing amongst each other to find out if Trump is going to do better or if Kamala's going to do better. They're only going to do as good as the bills that get in front of them to sign. Yeah, you do have executive actions and executive orders and all that shit. Yeah, you got that too. But that only has so much weight. At the end of the day, oh, they got it, right? Oh, here's another thing I need to touch on. Oh, well, it takes a while for that president to affect what's going on and whatever they do to take effect. That's not fucking true. All right? That's not fucking true. It's not true. Even with the economy, even with the price of gas, right? Think about it. What was the one? Okay, some of the first things that Trump did was renew and expand oil leases to dig for more oil. He ensured that the Keystone Pipeline got cracking, right? He did those things, right? And he also made the EPA deregulate fracking and oil drilling through executive action. That happened immediately. So what happened? They started drilling for more oil, all this, that, and the third. That affected the economy immediately. It didn't take 4, 5, 6 years. That is some basic understanding that I don't understand how people don't recognize that. The foreign trade agreements that he had. The foreign trade agreements that he initiated. That also went to effect immediately. Why? How did that happen? He put tariffs on certain importers, right? Like China. He put tariffs on the steel. All right, if you want to import because we're the biggest customer, we get a lot of shit from China. So he said, you know what? Yeah, we'll put tariffs on them. And then guess what? China, they bucked a little bit, but guess what? They paid the fucking tariffs. These things went into effect. I don't understand how people are saying, oh, it took, the economy is crap now because of shit Trump did. What? If you look at it objectively, you take your feelings out of it, you take, whether he's white and what he said about these people on that side and all that, but take that, just remove that and look at the actual things that he did that went into effect, that actually did something. So you drill it for more oil, you're expanding oil leases, right? That means that the big oil can drill for more oil. What happens when you drill for more oil? You produce more oil. When you produce more oil, what happens? You start to become more energy independent, which was happening also with the fracking, right? Yeah, they told y'all, the fracking, it was causing earthquakes and this, that. Okay, right? All this shit that they're saying. In the agreement we had with Canada, the trade agreement we had with Canada, right? And the drilling we were doing off of Alaska. The trade agreement with Canada, with Mexico, with China, all these things. That helped bring money back into the country. Almost immediately. And when you're talking about the Keystone Pipeline, what did that do? That helped with oil futures, right? How the future would probably, all the oil and whatnot we would get from the Keystone Pipeline coming down into the tree. That would also help produce more oil and and help us sell more oil to other countries, well, that helped. Yeah, that helped. So, yeah, they're going to tell you, oh, he ain't do shit until this, that. No. Now, do some things take a while to take effect? Yes. But if they're telling you that everything, it takes a couple terms, that's bullshit. Because when Obama bailed out those banks, the effects of that went into effect immediately during his presidency. Now, did the bubble bursting happen in the presidency before him? Yes. But his action of bailing the bank out, that also affected us in a certain way economically. So anyway, there were certain things Trump did. It's just true. It's just true. Manufacturing started to come back. All this bullshit. This is what it is. It's just what it is. And it's because, not necessarily because Trump made it happen, right? From what I know, the understanding I have is that this is part of how they make it look like, oh well, because they have to give you different looks to keep you fooled. To keep you fooled, to keep you stuck on a guy, to make you a fan of an individual, they have to give you the impression that that individual is doing certain shit. That shit isn't already in effect behind the scenes. That is going to make that thing happen anyway. So the economy being good under Trump was going to happen whether Trump was there or not. It's because they wanted it to happen to give us a different look. And when Biden became president, he did how many executive actions in 100 days? Over 100. Many of that reversed a lot of the shit Trump did. It stopped a lot of the oil drilling. He did not renew a lot of the oil leases. He stopped the building of the Keystone Pipeline. That tanked the fucking oil futures. They'll tell you COVID did. No. Well, there was less demand. Okay, well, guess what? In 2020, toward the end of his term, the shutdowns were over. People were using gas again. The shit was going back up. So the effect that had on oil futures was short term. But when they shut down the Keystone Pipeline and stopped the oil leases, that tanked oil futures. That tanked them even more. And they stopped producing as much oil. But guess what? In the third year, right, in 2023, they started drilling, baby. Why? Because they had to fund this goddamn proxy war in Ukraine. Yeah, they had to fund the proxy war. After they drained the oil reserves we had, the emergency reserves we had, they had to start drilling some more. We got to renew these leases. We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to fund the Ukrainian war. We got to fund Israel and their war. That's why they started drilling. That's why in 2023, they drilled more oil than any other year during Trump's presidency. And what does that tell you? Every other year before that, it was less. But what does that tell you? That they could have made that shit happen the entire time. They could have drilled for more. They could have produced more oil during those first 2 years if they wanted to. They chose not to. And what else did they do? What else did they do? When Biden became president, what did he do? He shut down the supply chain, man. Now, the supply chain was already cramped and craggled and bottlenecked because of Modelo 19. And I'm probably going to get a strike for talking about saying the C word earlier. But I'm not talking about the C word specifically. So hopefully they don't shut the shit down. But anyway. What did they do? All the imported goods that we get in this country, from other countries and all that shit, from Taiwan, from China, from all these different countries, got held up off the port of Los Angeles. All the ports that we get this shit in, they would not allow them to bring the goods. That was Biden's doing. That was done under Biden administration. That also affected the food prices. that also affected the goods prices. He held them motherfucking tanks off the coast of our country, off the ports, so that we would not get the goods and supplies that we use over here in this country. But no, and that affected the prices immediately. Yes, did Modelo 19, did that affect prices because, it was an state of emergency? Yeah. But it started, there was still only 1% inflation during Trump's entire presidency, even though the lockdowns happened during Trump's presidency. Well, when we stopped the lockdowns and we started going back to work, we started using fuel again. We started, doing all that, buying shit again, all this type of shit. Biden comes in and he keeps all the goods. He slows down not only the supply chain coming from other countries, but going across the country with the truckers. Right? That got slowed up. Listen. Because the truckers, they were very limited into where they could drop these goods off to. They couldn't go pick the shit up from the port. The shit that was coming in off the port, they had nothing to bring. They had nothing to pick up. That was due to Biden. That was due to Biden. The Biden administration. Y'all, if y'all want to believe in that whole, the president has power bullshit, which they don't, that's because that's what they wanted. That's what they wanted. They wanted the supply chain to slow down. They wanted to keep the goods off. They wanted to stop the oil drilling to a degree. They wanted to shut down the Keystone Pipeline. Why? To give us a different look. To give us a different look. To show us that what we do and how we vote affects what happens in this country. Why do they need your vote if they're going to do whatever they want to do anyway? Well, when you vote, what you're doing is you're telling the system that you submit to whatever they choose to do. So if you vote for your favorite person to become president, when you submit that vote, what you're saying is, yeah, I want this guy to win, but if he doesn't, I'll go along anyway. That's what you're doing. You're telling the government when you vote, it might not go my way, but I believe in the system and I'm going to vote anyway. And whoever becomes the president, whatever law passes based on my vote or doesn't pass, I still submit. You're giving your consent to be governed. And for what? What do you get out of it? Not a motherfucking thing. What do you get out of government that they don't extract from somewhere else? The government can't give you shit without first taking it from somebody else. If I dig for gold in some land that's not owned by anybody, if I go dig up some gold, I did the work to dig up the gold. It's mine. I didn't have to rob anybody. I didn't have to take it from anybody. I found the gold myself. I took it from the earth. And then some guy comes up to me, whacks me upside the head and takes 10% of my gold. And then he goes and says, look at that guy over there. He's homeless. Let me give him some money. No, motherfucker, what he did was he went to 10 people like me that got their own gold, whack them all upside the head. He got 10 guys, took 10% from each guy and got 100%. And then gave 5% to the homeless, to this homeless guy. Gave 15% to that country over there. And gave another 10% to that country. And put 10% in his. That's how the fucking shit works, man. So tell me, what good did that guy do? What good did he do without first doing some horrible shit to somebody else first? Exactly, 10% to the big guy. This is what why don't we have this understanding about what government is? But we want to argue about the blackness. We want to argue about, grab him by the pussy. We want to argue. all this meaningless dribble bullshit. All meaningless. At the end of the day, it's about what you need. Y'all need to be focused on what you can do for yourself to make you more self-sufficient, to make you more resourceful. How can you become more resourceful on your own merit without looking for government to do anything for you? How can you make yourself more secure? How can you make yourself more dangerous to protect yourself and your family? That's what you need to be thinking about. Well, what can I grow? What can I raise? Can I get some land and build a solar array enough with enough solar panels to power my home, to charge this battery, to all that type of shit. What kind of fuel can I derive from my generator? That's what we need to be thinking about. What community members can I form a community of like-minded people, build our own community, build our own infrastructure, and go from there. No, we gotta look for the Kamala. Oh, Kamala, please, you're black, so I'm gonna vote for you. Oh, Donald Trump. Oh, you funny, so I'm gonna vote for you. Oh, you hilarious. Yeah. Now, ostensibly, right? There is more to gain from a Trump presidency than from a Kamala presidency. That's just a reality. That's just the reality. A Trump presidency would be better than a Kamala presidency. That's just a reality. Right? But at the end of the day, we should not be looking to one person to come through every 4 years and make shit happen for us. We need to focus on how we can make shit happen for ourselves. And that's just how I look at it. I wouldn't be mad if the Walking Dead level event happened and where people were forced to do shit for themselves. I wouldn't be mad if a solar flare came and wiped out all the goddamn electronics. At that point, the government can't do shit for you. Just find some shelter, because there are going to be a lot of planes falling out of the sky at that point. The bottom line is, these things can happen at any point in time. EMP, solar flare, maybe not the zombie apocalypse, but another pandemic, disease X that they keep talking about. Shit can hit the fan. And what is your government going to do for you at that point? What are they going to do? They're going to build concentration camps. They're going to come over here. Yeah, we're going to do everything for you. Oh, you're going to have shelter, food, all this, that, and third. Then they're going to keep your ass in some goddamn gate. And they're going to have all them plastic coffins ready for you. Meanwhile, things are going to happen. And they're going to come out and they're going to be like, yeah, we got all these people in this concentration camp. They all died. And now we got some stragglers out here in the real world, in the free world, that we got to get rid of. And we can run the world as we see fit. Anyway, that's all I got for now, y'all. Thank y'all for coming through and listening to me rant about this shit. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, ain't nobody going to do nothing for your black ass, for your white ass, for your Mexican ass, for your Italian ass, for your Chinese ass, except for yourself. Bottom line, government equals destruction. Whether it's a Kamala ran the government, whether it's a Trump ran government, at the end of the day. Oh, you know what's funny? One thing. Now, somebody told me how Trump said that he wanted to get rid of Department of Education. And I'm like, hey, that's good. Because what you're doing is you're abolishing a bureaucracy, a government bureaucracy that lessens the control, basically saying that he's going to get rid of the Department of Education and let every state run their own education system. right? Okay, you're removing a central bureaucracy, and you're okay. That's a teeny little good start, right? And this person said he's only doing that so that he can control all the schools. What? How is he trying to control more by taking controls away? Help me understand that. Trump would govern the school system of the country through the Department of Education. So how is it that by removing that, he's going to gain more control over education across the country? Help me understand that. I'm like, huh? How? What? But see, this is what it is, man. This is what it is. Trump ending the Department of Education is going to give him more control over education. Well, he wouldn't have it anymore. He wouldn't be able. He would not have an avenue. He wouldn't have an avenue. So even if he tried to go to a government and say, "Hey, run your school like this," he can't do that because there's no more Department of Education to oversee, right? To have the overarching control over that school's education system. Now, the states do have some control over their education system, but there is this supremacy clause where the Department of Education can overrule certain things. Well, he's removing that. By removing that, he is lessening his chance of controlling schools. I don't understand what? Let me tell y'all the president I would believe in before I get off. The president, if they don't do these two things, if they don't abolish the IRS, all right, if they don't abolish the IRS, and if they don't cut ties with the Federal Reserve, I'm not even going to entertain the thought of this motherfucker becoming president. No presidential candidate has ever said that he was going to abolish the IRS and cut ties with the Federal Reserve, because you can't abolish the Federal Reserve because the Federal Reserve is not a government entity. But that's another story. So the Federal Reserve, get rid of that, right? Now you can abolish the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, and that's how you remove the Federal Reserve and all that. And then you abolish the IRS, which would essentially mean that there's not going to be they won't have the muscle to come break your kneecaps if you don't pay them your protection money, right? But no presidential candidate is going to ever say that. They're not going to say, "Oh, well, I'm going to end taxation. I'm going to enforce taxation. I'm going to abolish the IRS. I'm going to cut ties with the Federal Reserve. We're going to abolish the Federal Reserve Act of 1913." They're not going to do that. So you, in reality, as a free individual, if you are really a free individual who really wants to be free, who really has that in mind, you cannot take any presidential candidate seriously that doesn't say those things, that doesn't have the intent to do those things. And any president that does and is taken seriously and it gains traction, well, I mean, they're gonna get the head blown off. You know what I'm saying? That's just what's gonna happen. Oh, they're gonna get taken out hot quick. Ain't gonna be no ear pierce. No, you ain't getting your ear. My back. If you are a presidential candidate that has any influence or traction or any chance of winning a presidential election, and you say that you're going to abolish the IRS, you're going to repeal the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, if you have any intent on doing that, they will take you out. If you don't even mention it and become president and talk about doing those things, they're going to take you out. So, There's no presidential candidate I can believe in, because that's never happened. Anyway, that's all I got for now, y'all, man. I'm gonna get off of this. Much love. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you guys for coming through and hitting that like button. And we're gonna keep marching forward toward freedom.